Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here with your all stuff, no fluff news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo. Now we've talked about this one a few times on the channel and more and more reports are coming out. It's being reported again, and even more so now, that the Nintendo Switch 2 is facing a price increase in 2026, and that's being predicted by a research firm. Now, I don't know about you, and I'd say this isn't a shot against the research firm, but realistically, I don't think it takes a research firm to predict that the Switch 2 may be facing a price increase. I mean, if you take a look at the current climate for RAM and storage and all of that stuff, even the sub-headline here, I think it's painfully obvious. They say tariffs, increased memory costs, and other economic conditions will force Nintendo's hand. I would also argue share prices. Now, we have talked about this one in the past, and not to go on a tangent about stock prices, but if you take a look at Nintendo's stock, seemingly since November, it is on a very sharp decline. And I would guess shareholders are not happy. I mean, taking a look at the price of the stock right now, it's lower than it was when the Switch 2 launched. And that is not good at all. I would guess Nintendo is a little bit concerned about this, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. Now, I believe that Nintendo is between a rock and a hard place right now. I mean, if Nintendo raises the price of the Switch 2 and less people buy a Switch 2 because of that, it would drive stock prices down even further. If Nintendo doesn't raise the price of the Switch 2 and it costs them more to make, they're going to make less on the Switch 2, arguably driving the price of the stock down even further. It's a lose-lose situation. Nintendo seemingly is in a hole right now, and I think the only way out of it is to release some really good first-party games, like Zelda. So who knows what Nintendo is going to do? I'd say they need to do something to make the Switch 2 a must-have for gamers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking about Nintendo, next up here we're talking about Nintendo and Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. And this game, seemingly out of nowhere, just got a brand new free update to add Dixie Kong into the game. Furthermore here, the Switch 2 gets enhanced visuals and shorter loading times. There's a brand new turbo attack mode and even more. And speaking about Switch stuff, but unofficial Switch stuff, next up here we're talking about tiicu, which is the first custom emulation front end for the Nintendo Switch. And tiicu just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 0.0.2 is the latest update for tiicu, and they say here this is the second early release of their custom emulator front end for the Nintendo Switch. This update brings major improvements to ROM scanning, new customization options, performance enhancements, and NES support. On top of that, there's home screen improvements and even core improvements to PPSSPP, Swan Station, SNES 9X, MGBA, and Gambat. If you are interested in this one and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about stuff on GitHub, next up here we're talking about Joypad OS, and Joypad OS is a really interesting project. Robert Dale Smith says, I'm building a totally open source, anything to anything controller adapter firmware platform. I believe gamers should be able to use whatever controller they want, wherever they want. Bluetooth, USB, retro, modern, everything. So taking a look at the project's GitHub, and already it supports a whole bunch of USB controllers, and I'm going to guess it's going to support even more as time goes on. At the time of filming, version 1.4.1 is the latest and greatest update, and I'm really curious as to the future of Joypad OS and what devices end up using it. And continuing to talk about interesting stuff, and hopefully the whole video is interesting for you, or at least most of it, or some of it, or even just part of it. Next up here, we're talking about Android gaming and, Steam games on Android. And someone has Clair Obscura Expedition 33 up and running very well on a Red Magic 10 Pro. Now, we talked about this one yesterday with someone else showcasing some footage of this game up and running well. And it just seems that Android is doing extremely well. At least some certain devices are doing extremely well, running some pretty good games. I mean, someone else here with a Red Magic 11 Pro, so a little bit better than the 10 Pro, has Sekiro up and running at max graphics. That is absurd. That is amazing. On top of that, someone else with a Red Magic 11 Pro has Cyberpunk up and running at 720p ultra settings with no upscaling. That is really impressive. The game is definitely not running at full screen and there are some visual issues with it. But at the same time here, for an Android phone, I mean, let me know if you think that's impressive. And speaking about graphics, the last part of this segment here, someone has Dragon Ball FighterZ up and running on Android at 854 by 480 at the lowest possible settings. And, well, it doesn't look prettier. Maybe it does, depending on your graphical tastes. But again, I would say this is impressive for Android. All of this stuff is up on Reddit emulation on Android, and I would say it's worth taking a look at, even just for the comments and reactions. And speaking about reactions, next up here, we're talking about Life is Strange Reunion. Square Enix has just announced this game with a release date of March 26th, and there's a lot of differing reactions online. It seems that this game is going to be very warmly received by fans of it. However, some fans of it are upset that Chloe's voice actor is not returning for the game. We'll have to wait to see how this game does, and let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. But I've seen some comments wondering about the choices from the first game, considering some people sacrificed Chloe. Is that a spoiler? I don't think so. The game's been out for a long time, the initial one. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. I'm really curious to hear what you have to think about it. And speaking about opinions, next up we're talking about Marathon. And I don't know what's going on with Marathon. It just seems that this game is cursed in some way, shape, or form here. Because listen to this headline: bizarre Marathon bug auto installs Destiny 2 when you pre-order. Wild. I guess this is true. I guess it has since been fixed. But at the same time here, I mean, those are two completely different games, Marathon and Destiny 2. I have no idea how or why this bug even existed. And speaking about bizarre stuff and game crossovers, I mean, this is a little bit more close than Destiny 2 and Marathon. Next up here, we're talking about Hytale and Minecraft. And look at this post up on Reddit Hytale. Hytale client and Minecraft client crossplay. Yes, you heard that. Crossplay between Hytale and Minecraft, although at this point in time it's extremely limited. Now, realistically here, these are two separate games. I've got no expectations that this is going to progress further and be more in-depth than what it currently is. But at the same time here, I think this is absolutely wild that you can see someone in Minecraft while you're in Hytale. So taking a look at the comments here, and well, there's my reaction to this, but at the same time, the developer behind this one says, the Hytale server is the host. Currently, many things are broken and Hytale server is the only one which has authority. The Minecraft clients can only see each other and Hytale players for now. I think that alone is a huge accomplishment. I am very, very curious to see how this evolves. If it evolves, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And on a side note here, if you don't believe me and wanted to see it in action, there's also videos of this showcasing how it works. Absolutely wild. Like, I did not have this in the cards for 2026 or at all for Hytale and Minecraft. And speaking about modding, next up here, we're talking about the Asus ROG Xbox Ally, and someone here has modded a Game Boy cartridge slot onto the back of theirs. Now, taking a look at this, I would say it's not necessarily the cleanest installation. It does require a USB-C cable plugged into the top. But at the same time, it's functional and it works, and it's not in a place where you're going to hit it with your hands. Now, I don't know about you, but overall, I think this is a really cool project. I like seeing stuff like this, and this is up on Pure Xbox if you wanted to learn more about this one. Unfortunately, for some reason, over on Reddit, the moderators of the subreddit for this deleted it. I mean, not joking, here is Reddit ROG Ally, and here is the post, which has been removed from a moderator. I would guess that they'd want to restore this at some point in time because this is a really cool, innocent thing for the Xbox Ally. No idea why this would be removed in the first place. Maybe it violated a rule of some form. I don't know. I'm baffled at why this was removed. And speaking about hardware, next up we're talking about a brand new piece of hardware for the Switch 2, a new Switch 2 dock from Retro Fighters. They say here this one is coming soon, and if you're a fan of GameCube stuff and stuff that looks like a GameCube and stuff that works with GameCube stuff, you might be excited about this one. I think this is one of the coolest docks that I've seen recently. Now, unfortunately, I don't know the release date or the price, but it does seem to be customizable. It works with GameCube controllers, and I think a lot of people would be interested in it. Let me know your thoughts. And speaking about stuff you might be interested in, last up here, we're talking about an indie game with a demo up on Steam. This game is called Lucid. If you're a fan of Shovel Knight, if you're a fan of Celeste or platformers like that, you might be interested in this. This game is definitely up my alley. Who knows, maybe it's up yours. If you've checked out the demo, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Except the legendary One Fluff, who's in a very cuddly mood right now. And you can do basically anything with her right now. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.